Tonight we're going to honour the award winners from the current senior and junior teams, but this is no ordinary award ceremony tonight, for we're truly excited to announce the first inductees to the Cricket Scotland Hall of Fame, with the inaugural entrance stretching back to the 1800s and coming right up to date to the 21st century. More on this as the evening goes on. We're going to start our awards with the Age Group Awards, and we start by recognising the outstanding achievements of 3 of our best young players who each had very successful seasons. And to make the presentations, I'm delighted to say that we're joined by the Scotland captain, Gordon Drummond. Now, we'll start with the Under-15 Player of the Year. This year, the award goes to an all-rounder from Fettes College in Grange, who had an excellent year. Playing for the national Under-15 side, he scored 217 runs at an average of 54.25, with a high score of 60, and he took 9 wickets at an average of 10.78. The award goes to Will Edwards. We now move on to the Under-17 Player of the Year, and the award goes to a young batsman from Aberdeen who excelled this season. He scored 324 runs for his country at an average of 54, including a high score of 134. The award goes to Omar Afridi. Now, unfortunately, Omar cannot be here tonight, but to pick up the award on his behalf is his teammate at Stonywood Dice, Gordon Gowdy. Now, our next award is the Under-19 Player of the Year. This year was one of unparalleled success with the Under-19 side. As I said earlier, they won their team qualification tournament for next year's World Cup. The winner was definitely in this bracket, scoring 489 runs at 25 and taking 32 wickets at an average of 19. The winner from Forfarshire Cricket Club is Aman Belwal. Edinburgh 19s convincingly won their World Cup qualifier in Ireland, which was a fantastic achievement by the players and their coach Craig Wright and his support team. We're fortunate to have their captain Paddy Sadler here tonight. I would like you all to give Paddy, Aman and the team a great round of applause for their achievements. Well done, and congratulations. Looking back I've interviewed Colin Smith before and Craig Wright. You're up there with them when it comes to the height. What was it like in Ireland?
It was a great experience, I think, to play against teams from all over the world, and then to win as well was fantastic. It was a pretty intense couple of weeks because we played, I think, 9 games to about 12 days, so it was pretty intense, but we did really well, and to win was fantastic.
And you weren't the favourites for the tournament by any means, were you?
No, well, Cricket Europe and Cricket Info and people like that seem to favour Ireland quite a lot, but we'd beaten them the previous year as well to win the European Championship, so we were pretty confident that we could win. Even though maybe people weren't fancying us as much as other teams.
Now, what about Australia next August? What a trip that's going to be. Take the smile off your face. You're so lucky, aren't you?
Yeah, it should be awesome. It's obviously an amazing place to play cricket, and to play against teams, sort of the best teams from across the world, will be another awesome experience. And hopefully we can go and give a good account of ourselves and win a couple of games.
We hope you do too. Paddy, many thanks for joining us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Paddy Sadler. We now move on to the International Player of the Year awards, and tonight we have 4 international awards for 2011 to present. This has been an outstanding year for Gordon Drummond and his side, and there were many contenders for the prizes, which I'm sure made the decisions very difficult. The first award is for the International Bowler of the Year, and I would like to ask Clarence Parfitt if he'd come forward to present it. Now, this year's winner had another exceptional year for his country. In all games, he took 27 wickets at 30 and was consistently an outstanding bowler in the team, bowling excellent spells in all formats of the game. In addition, his batting came to the fore again, including his maiden first-class 100 against Holland. We can reveal tonight that his season has been capped off by his selection for the ICC Associate 11 to play England in the new year. The award goes to Majid Haq. Now, the second award is for the International All-Rounder of the Year, and that will be presented by Terry Rakionzar. Now, our International All-Rounder of the Year is a young Aberdonian now playing at Middlesex. That's a fair clue for you. As a top-order batsman and seam bowler, he's made a significant impression on everyone since his debut last year. In 2011, he played many important innings, including 91 against Warwickshire, and a very composed 48 not out in the win against Ireland. A highly effective bowler, he contributed important wickets, as well as proving very effective at the end of an innings. In all games, he scored 490 runs at 32 and took 19 wickets at 22. Our award goes to Josh Davey. Thank you for collecting that. Now, our next award is the HK Moore International Batsman of the Year. And I'd like to ask Hamish to come forward to present his award.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2011 has been a remarkable number of individual batting performances in the national side. As has been said earlier, there were maiden centuries for Majid Haq, for Ryan Flanagan and for Ewan Chalmers, so congratulations to all three of them. Preston Momsen had a great season, 585 runs at 41.79, including his maiden century. This, in normal years, would have won him the International Batsman of the Year, but unfortunately he didn't quite make it this year, which was a great shame. But the unanimous decision by the national coach, the chairman of selectors and myself for International Batsman of the Year is one who will no doubt be the answer to quiz questions in the future. Which batsman scored 100 for two different sides in the same competition on the same ground in the same year? Now that's obviously Kyle Coetzer. Now Kyle Coetzer had a remarkable season. He had 12 innings for Scotland, 8 50s and 100 with an average of 62.91. Unanimously the best batsman in the country this year.
Also, Kyle is to join Majid Haq in that ICC Associate 11 in January in Dubai. So another honour for Kyle. Now, our next award is for the International Players Player of the Year, and I'd like to ask Brian Hardy if he would come forward to present this one. Now, the award goes to another young player who's made an immediate impact on the side since his debut last summer. His batting statistics this year were highly impressive, scoring, I think you might have just heard this a minute or two ago, 585 runs at 42 in all cricket, including his maiden first-class 100. Even more impressive were his scores in the CB40, where in 11 games he scored 408 runs at an average of 58, placing him in the top 13 batsmen in the competition. His off-spin and superb fielding made him a key component of the team. His teammates have awarded Preston Momsen their Players Player of the Year. Now, this year has also seen the retirement of two of Scotland's most influential cricketers of the last decade. They are, of course, Ryan Watson and Neil McCallum. We'll start with Ryan. He scored 500s, 27 50s, including the memorable 43-ball 100 against Somerset and a superb 94 against Ireland in the ICC Trophy final of 2005. He is also 8th on the all-time leading wicket-takers list with 133 wickets, including a best of 5 for 74 against Holland. Ryan also captained Scotland on 63 occasions, Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Watson. Because we come now to Neil McCallum. Neil made his debut for Scotland in 2000 and played 133 matches for his country. Although making his debut 11 years ago, it was only in 2006 that he really cemented a place in the Scotland side, and from that time to this, he's been a central figure for Scotland's international team, scoring runs consistently in all forms of the game. Neil scored 700s for Scotland, placing him second equal on the all-time list behind Ian Phillip. 2 of those hundreds were scored in his 43 one-day internationals, more matches than any other Scotsman. In his ODI debut, Neil scored that memorable 68 against Pakistan at the City Lights Grange, sharing in a partnership of 118 with Ryan Watson. In 14 first-class games, Neil averaged over 44, including a high score of 181 against Holland in 2007, the third equal highest ever score for Scotland in first-class cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Neil McCallum. 5,000 runs, is there one particular knock that stands out?
Yeah, probably. The Somerset innings was probably the best innings I played, and then probably another knock that was quite good just because of the timing with the 100 against Canada in Nairobi just sort of set us up on a nice few runs. So yeah, we'd had a tough game and a cup before, and it was pretty hot. So those 2 innings would probably stand out. And
of course, for you, there was World Cups, the Caribbean, there was the 2020 in South Africa. Really a chance to travel and play in the really big tournaments of the world.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I played in 3 World Cups, and coming to Scotland when I did, and you know, this was like a second chance for me, and to get 3 World Cups was just fantastic. So I thank Cricket Scotland for that. And fortunately, I probably didn't perform as well as I could have in those World Cups, but you know, it's been a great opportunity. Met some great folk and toured with some great teammates. So it couldn't have been a better experience.
You say met some great folk. I remember in Durban when you met up with Graham Smith there. The 2 of you going back to your old days.
Yeah, I say great folk. No, I mean, I went to school with Graham and things like that, so that was fine. I knew him from school. But yeah, I mean, I remember one instance, I won't say who my accomplice was, but sitting in a bar in the Caribbean, and to the left of me was Andrew Flintoff, to the right of me was Peterson, Brian Lara, Adam Gilchrist, and, you know, one other Scottish player. Who
lives to tell the tale, didn't
Absolutely. So, you know, I mean, that's the sort of memory I will sort of take. You know, you don't often get to share a beer with those sort of people.
Fantastic. Neil, if I can try and come around to yourself here. One of the most memorable ones I can remember was the 68 against Pakistan.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the most outstanding ones I've played, because I'd slipped away from you know, the favour of the selectors and that kind of thing, and managed to get back in that year, and that innings really sort of propelled on for the next 5, so it was really special.
Do you feel you were part of a special time in Scottish cricket?
Yeah, definitely. I was really fortunate to have those 6 years where, you know, we managed to go away and qualify for 2020 World Cups, and obviously managed to play in a World Cup as well, which was you know, a serious memory that, as Ryan says, will take forever, and you know, to travel some amazing places in the world is you know, hugely memorable. And
as you look around the room here, do you feel we've got the emerging talent, or even somebody that's now playing to get us to future World Cups?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously the guys did really well in Namibia just in September there, and there's some great talent coming through, so hopefully, you know, over the next few years they come through.
Well, you've both provided us with such great memories over the year. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil McCallum and Ryan Watson. Delighted to be able to induct the first members of the Scottish Cricket Hall of Fame. The caps will be awarded by Cricket Scotland President Bob McFarlane and Norman Mayer. I'll ask them now to come up. Our first inductee played 78 times for Scotland from his debut in 1960 until he retired in 1983. He also captained the team 35 times up to the start of the era of competing in county competitions. His most notable game was against the MCC in 1973 when he followed up an 8-wicket haul in the MCC's first innings with a century. While that was his best bowling return, his bowling went from strength to strength, right up to including games in the Benson and Hedges competition. Happy memories those days. George Goddard was awarded an MBE in 1982 for his services to Scottish cricket, and we're delighted that he becomes the first inductee to the Scottish Cricket Hall of Fame. George Goddard. Our next inductee was born in 1854 in Edinburgh and was a remarkable all-round sportsman. Leslie Balfour Melville was probably Scotland's greatest sportsman of the Victorian era and has already been inducted into the Scottish Sport Hall of Fame. Imagine someone with the pace of Andy Irvine who could hit a tennis ball like Andy Murray and play golf like Henry Cotton. In tennis, billiards and the long jump, he was Scottish champion while he won the British Amateur Golf Championship and also just happened to play rugby for Scotland. But cricket was his first love, with a remarkable 36 years between his first and last cap. His top score may only have been 73, but it was achieved in leading Scotland to a win over Australia, our one and only win against a major test-playing country. His name may not be widely known today, but there is no doubting that Leslie Balfour Melville deserves his place in the Hall of Fame. Our next inductee is the first who can claim to be a test match player and also a one-day internationalist for both Scotland and England. Coming into the team in 1993, he played several times, but it was his performances for Scotland in the 1999 World Cup that secured his place as one of Scotland's greatest ever all-rounders. He returned to the Scotland team in late 2004 and remained a backbone of the batting for a further 6 years. For the last 2 seasons, he's provided inspiration to a changing Scotland team with his captaincy skills, rounding off a career where he's given so much to the Scottish cause. And we're delighted that he can join us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Gavin Hamilton. Our next inductee was born in Edinburgh in August 1869 and only played club or school cricket in Scotland during his early days at George Watson's College before his family moved to England. Gregor McGregor then went straight into the England Test team as wicketkeeper, winning 5 caps in English Test matches as well as touring Australia with England. He went on to captain Middlesex for several years at cricket, while he also appeared for Scotland at rugby. There's a bit of a theme there, isn't there? His Scotland cricket appearances were limited by his other commitments. He was a stockbroker by day, but he remains the only Scotland wicketkeeper ever to play Test cricket. That is Gregor McGregor. Now, it's not often that you can link Stenhousemuir with Perth in Western Australia, in cricketing terms at least, but our next inductee has that combination to thank for his upbringing. It all combined to make him a fine back-footed player with a tremendous cover drive. Ian Phillip broke many batting records for the Scotland team after being first capped in 1986. His total of 4,831 runs was a record until recently, but his top score of 234 and 10 centuries, they remain records, despite a far higher number of games played in recent seasons. He formed a legendary opening partnership with Bruce Patterson. They frustrated county attacks for many years, and who can forget that day that they came in for lunch with a Scotland score of 143 for no wicket at Old Trafford. A determined opening batsman and truly worthy of his place in the Cricket Hall of Fame, we're delighted that to collect the award on behalf of Ian, we're joined by former Stenhousemuir teammate and Scotland international, Morrison Zool. Now, our next inductee is by a long, long way the most famous cricketing minister that we've ever had in Scotland. While the England Test team had the Reverend David Shepherd during the 1950s, Scotland had the Reverend James Aitchison. He shares with John Kerr the distinction of being the only Scotland batsman to score a century against a Test-playing nation. And at the time of his retirement from the Scotland team, he was our most capped player and record run aggregate scorer. His highest score was 190 against Ireland in 1959, but it was his innings of exactly 100 against the 1956 touring Australians that he's best remembered for. James Aitchison had a distinguished career in the ministry, and although he died in 1994, he's well remembered for his outstanding contributions in Scottish cricket colours. Ladies and gentlemen, James Aitchison. Our seventh inductee learned his cricket at the same club as Ian Phillip, playing 14 games for Scotland before moving on to a lengthy county career. Brian Hardy played for Essex from 1973 to 1990, the most successful years in the county's history, when Essex seemed destined to win a trophy every season. And Brian was very much an integral part of that team. He frequently played the role of foil to Graham Gooch, and what an opening partnership they made. His fielding was also worthy of note. Brian won more trophies and championship medals than any other Scot has ever done in county cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Hardy. It's a true mark of our next inductee that his name is known and respected, not just in cricketing circles, but in the wider sporting world. Mike Denness is the only true Scot to captain the England Test team. Mike learned his trade at Ayr Cricket Club, and while he was still playing for them, he gained his first Scotland cap in 1959. He later successfully made the switch to county cricket with Kent, of course, but it was his exploits in the England team during the 1970s that he'll forever be remembered. He led England to tours of both the West Indies and Australia, the latter one, of course, the most memorable Ashes series ever, with Lilly and Thompson in their prime. An innings of 188 against them proved Mike's abilities. For that alone, his bravery merits a place in the Hall of Fame. It was one of 4 Test centuries that he scored. Those who know little about Scottish cricket may well know the name Mike Denness, ensuring a deserved place in the Cricket Scotland Hall of Fame, and Brian Hardy will accept Mike's cap on his behalf. Mike Denness. Now, our next inductee was the first name to be put on the team sheet in any Scotland team selected in the interwar years, and not just because he normally opened the Scottish batting. John Kerr was the greatest cricketer ever produced by Greenock by a long, long way. When he retired from club cricket, he had scored 41 centuries for Greenock. That's just a mere 32 more than the next best at the time. We've already learned that he scored a century against a Test-playing country, but this was a big one. John scored 147 against the all-conquering 1921 Australian tourists, captained by Warwick Armstrong, who wondered why Kerr had not been picked for England. To show it was no fluke, Kerr went on to score 60 not out against the same team. He was never flamboyant, but John Kerr's batting held the Scottish side together for many years. To collect his cap, we're delighted that Tom Black, the second highest run scorer in Greenock's history, is here today. Ladies and gentlemen, John Kerr. Next, we come to a man who played football for Scotland at under-18 level. He also played rugby before concentrating on his cricket and breaking into the Scotland team in 1989. But Dougie Brown soon came to the notice of Warwickshire, and so started an association with the Midlands club that continues to this very day. He scored over 12,500 runs, to more than 850 wickets for them. But Dougie's greatest success was to gain selection for the England one-day team in 1997 as an all-rounder. His England selection and county commitments, of course, limited Dougie's appearances for Scotland, but he returned in time, playing a leading role in Scotland's ICC trophy-winning team of 2005, and went on to play for Scotland in the 2007 World Cup in the West Indies. Dougie Brown already appears in the Warwickshire Hall of Fame, and he now rightly takes his place in the Cricket Scotland Hall of Fame. And we're delighted to be joined by Dougie's parents, who will collect his cup. Two more to go. The first of those is, well, he had the most remarkable introduction to first-class cricket. After leaving Edinburgh Academy for Oxford University, he quickly made his way into the first 11 to play against Yorkshire. Upon being brought on to bowl, he recorded 7 overs, 7 maidens, 1 wicket. A cricketing star was born, and Jimmy Allen did indeed star with his left-arm spin for Oxford University, Kent, Warwickshire, Edinburgh Accies and Ayr. The nagging accuracy of his bowling was his hallmark, but he was no back number with the bat, as a heartbreaking innings of 99 not out for Scotland against the 1965 New Zealand tours proved. The year before his death, in 2005, Jimmy became the first Scottish cricketer to be honoured by having a statue unveiled in Edinburgh's Gallery of Modern Art. A great all-rounder, Jimmy Allen takes his place in our Hall of Fame. We now come to the final entrant to the Hall of Fame, a man who's been a giant of Scottish cricket for many years, in more ways than one, looking down literally on all his colleagues, with probably the exception of his great friend Colin Smith. Craig Wright has been a great influence on Scottish cricket as a player, as a captain, coach, ambassador, and he's even broken into broadcasting. His greatest playing performance was perhaps his man of the match and match-winning performance of 5 wickets against Worcestershire in 1998. But he went on to lead Scotland to success in the Intercontinental Cup in 2004 and the 2005 ICC Trophy. And of course he captained Scotland at the World Cup in the Caribbean in 2007. His under-19 squad were not favourites, as we said earlier, for this year's World Cup qualifiers, but they were worthy winners. He continues to influence Scottish cricket, and we're delighted to welcome into the Hall of Fame Craig Wright.
As well to the many players and coaches who are here this evening for their efforts playing for their country with pride during the year, and congratulations to you all for the many fine results that you've had this year. I'll take this opportunity to wish you well for next season as the senior side approach the T20 World Cup qualifiers in the Emirates in March, and also to wish every success to the under-19 team who will represent us in the under-19 World Cup in Australia next autumn. And that is as a reward for the magnificent victory in winning the ICC Under-19 qualifying event in Ireland, which I had the pleasure to be there to see some of it, and we did tremendously well, I'm sure you will agree. So if I can add my good wishes, I'm sure you would like to extend yours as well to these teams for their future games. Finally, but in no means least, my thanks to the man who's compared this evening so efficiently. He's kept us entertained throughout and made the night for us all to remember. Ladies and gentlemen, Sir Jeff Webster.